Okay, it looks like we are live.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, and I don't hear myself talking back at myself, so that works. So, all right, we made it. Yay. Okay, so we made it. We're connecting. It is another Monday's Midlife Girl Chat. And I hope everybody's week is going great. I was saying, I just love this weather. It's beautiful here today. It's like springtime, and then it's supposed to snow. And I know you're in the north, so I know you'll get. I was like, I can't put the temperature into your temperature right now. It's way warm for February, but it's more like April weather.
I'll
Anyway,
take it anytime.
so I am going to let you introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do, and we can go from there.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much for having me and taking this time to chat a little bit with me. My name is Maja, and I am movement educator and Pilates instructor, and I help women to reach their full potential through intentional movement and mindset hacks. And I am the founder of the Elevate Collective Pilates method for strong, lean bodies and pain-free movement for women over 40. That's pretty much in the short what I do and how I help.
Awesome. So can you kind of just explain, because like I know way back when I tried to do some Pilates and thought I was going to die. So kind of explain to everybody what Pilates is and how they can do it without thinking they're going to die.
You just keep on smiling. Just pretend you're enjoying. So think about Pilates, let's say, as a kind of like re-educating body to move bigger and small muscles in harmony so we don't get injured, so we have this power and strength in everyday movements. We don't fear of movement, right? We feel confident in everyday movements, being that sitting at the desk all day, being that running, walking, playing soccer, right? Whatever you do outside of the mat, that will enhance everything that you do, right? And what I found was specifically very, very beneficial as I hit 40 and then later, right? How my body changed and how with that I needed to change my approach, how I support and how I move my body, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, re-educating body, and also think about Pilates like flossing. I know we, like, oh, do I really have to floss, right?
Right.
But kind of like you go to the gym, you work these big muscles, that's kind of like a brushing of the teeth, but then you go do Pilates and that's kind of like flossing, right? So we're working these stabilizing muscles that actually gives us this power and strength in the movement, gives us a really confidence and at the end of the day, pain-free movement. So we don't really have to say, no, I can't go on this hike because I have this sciatic pain and I have this like kind of like, pesky low back pain, or I injured my shoulder and I don't want to, go with you for whatever we're doing, right? So it's basically really enhancing the life and any other activities that we do during the day.
Nice. Yeah, and as we're like over the 40 range and the 50 range, our bodies, we need that strength training for all that stability and what do we want to say? Because as we lose the estrogen, our muscle strength.
Yes. So yes, I love that you mentioned that, because that's right. That's when sarcopenia happens. Sarcopenia is muscle loss, and it happens actually from 30 and onwards.
Mhm.
And then every decade, women lose 5 to 8% of weight mass, which kind of like if you're looking at like from 30 to let's 70 years old, we lose about 30% of muscle mass if we're not doing any strength training, if we're not moving. And why do we care to have muscles? Because muscles will take care of the bones and joints. So again, we don't have, so it's easier, it's more manageable, let's say if there's osteopenia, if there's osteoporosis, and then down the road to work the balance so we don't get, we don't fall. And we all sometimes know what happens when we fall, right? Especially with the older population, right? So just it's yes, and then I love that you mentioned that. Especially as we age, we do need a different approach because often what I'm seeing women, and we do everything the best we can with what we're given. This is not, oh my God, you're doing everything wrong and everything you did so far was wrong. No, right? So it's just a little different approach, just a little a different outlook on how we need to move our bodies when we're 40, 50, 60 and onwards. And again, what I see often with women, it's I'm gonna run and I'm running and I'm doing this HIIT exercises, but I still have this, belly pouch and I'm not losing weight and I'm frustrated. And as you know, Kim, as well, a lot of these high impact exercises as we go into certain age level, they bring the cortisol levels up. Levels up will create havoc in hormones, and that will hinder our weight loss if that's one of the journeys that we are on, right? So really, really what we need as we age is that low impact strength training that will gives us power and ease in everyday movement. So we don't, I had a couple of clients like, I was vacuuming and cleaning and I threw my back, right? So, and then like, okay, so let's work, right? Let's work together, right? It's just having this a confidence in movement and being okay from, going up and down from floor, carrying bags, grocery bags, right? Picking up grandkids, kids. Right. Yes, that's all, that's all a part of this active aging that we're looking for to achieve, right, as we age.
Yeah. Well, dang, I'm 57 and my boys don't even have girlfriends yet. So, like, who knows how long before I have grandkids? And I'm like,
Pets.
I'm gonna be the really old grandma.
Let's say pets. Picking up the pets.
There we go. I know I tell them I'm not ready to be a grandma, but then I'm like, but I'm gonna be like, yeah. I don't want to be the grandma that's, I don't want to be the grandma that's using the walker and, trying to get along. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Right. So that's why we want this agility in the movement, so we can really be we can really be independent, right? As we age, we can really support ourselves and not being afraid of movement, actually, right? Because again, I work a lot. I'm specialized in post rehab, so I work a lot with people who have had, let's say, joint replacement or spine fusion or injuries. And, once they're done with physio, they're like, okay, what now? Right. So that's where I kind of like come in to maintain that mobility and strength. And often when we injure ourselves, we're afraid to move. And that's valid. That's totally valid. Right. Like, I'm like, I don't know if I should or shouldn't I. Right.
Yeah.
But body is designed to move. And at a certain point, we have to start moving. Right. Let's say what I've noticed these days, I have been seeing women who have frozen shoulder, let's say. Frozen shoulder is just another word for limited range of motion, but I haven't seen it in men so much.
Do you want to know
Right.
that there's like 70, 80 signs and symptoms of perimenopause, and frozen shoulder is one of them.
Right.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Oh.
So girls can't move. Yeah.
All right, everybody, mobility of the shoulder, do this.
Right.
Right. Right. So it's interesting, right? Because how that's all connected and how we actually don't really as women, we're like, okay, we're carrying grocery bags and purses and kids and things, and we don't really pay attention that much to the shoulder girdle to the shoulder, so the whole joint, unless, you know, okay, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to injure myself and I'm out 6 weeks, right? So this is where kind of like Pilates comes in to really maintain this agility in the movement. And we need both, basically. We need strength training, we need weightlifting, and we need Pilates. And you can absolutely build maximum strength with Pilates, right? And Pilates is not stretching. Even though it can feel like stretching in the beginning, it's still strengthening. It's still form of strength exercise, right? Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, I did this, it was back, we were in this house, I think, when I tried it. We've been here for like 20 years. That tells you probably about
I won't count. I won't count it.
And I thought, you know, I got into that core muscle there, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like thinking I'm gonna die. And so, yeah, I like doing the other workouts.
Right, but that's actually right. You were probably doing it correctly, because you're like, okay, I'm gonna just die here, thank you very much, see you later. Right, so all these emotions you're feeling during the class, such as, oh, I love you, oh, I hate you, oh, I want to cry, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, right, so all these mixed emotions, that's all valid during one Pilates class, you know, like you hate it, you love it, you're like, oh my God, like, is this really happening, right?
Right.
But every single movement in the body comes from core. Every single movement, right? And if the core is weak, there's going to be some misconnection between arm and leg, and then we bend down to bring something to, you know, to lift, and then low back, or we start to reach something, oh, my shoulder, right? So it's just very often that I'm seeing women who have, let's say, sciatic pain. Sciatic pain is imbalance in the small stabilizing muscles around the hip and low back, and that brings sciatic pain, right? So we can absolutely, I have a couple of clients who are like, now they're like in the 70s and like, oh my God, I don't have any sciatic pain, but let's not talk about these inches that are gone. and she's like, I'm in my 70s, right? So, and a lot of clients tell me, I wish I knew about this before, right? Because, you know, even if they were active before, you know, doing soccer, basketball, it's a bigger movements, it's a faster movements. But when you slow down to these little tiny stabilizing, controlled movements, intentional movements, that changes the whole picture for them, right? So,
Let me ask you this, like, you know, as we age, the estrogen decreases, and they took away hormone replacement for us women, which now we're finding out more and more, and that it is good and better for us to actually be on the hormone replacement. And I'm on it, very thank you much, because I'm a much happier, nicer person. um, and everybody thinks you're nice. And I'm like, oh, you don't know what goes on in my head, though. You don't know what's happening up there. Anyways, but with all that loss, it's that pelvic floor starts to weaken up too. And you know, when I'm like going to sneeze and I have to cross my legs because I'm like literally afraid I'm going to pee my pants someday. So does the Pilates help strengthen up that pelvic floor that helps with some of that sort of stuff?
right, absolutely. So these are not Kegel exercises that we're doing in Pilates. It's more about breathing and bringing back intra-abdominal pressure to be even. Because I had a ball here to kind of like illustrate. So imagine there's a balloon, and if we're constantly pulling the belly button in, then we're gonna have this little pouch below and a little up there. So that's intra-abdominal pressure that it's not even. However, when we work deep core unit, so all the way deep down underneath the low belly, and we're bringing intra-abdominal pressure to be even, that will tone the pelvic floor. And it's really fine line between having a really tight, hyper toned pelvic floor and really loose, right? So it is absolutely possible. I've seen it happen. It just takes a little bit more time, I won't lie, right? Because let's say for 40, 30 years, we were just doing maybe other things, maybe all other things were more important, that's fine, right? It is possible, it just takes a little bit more patience and a little bit more time and structure and really guidance, right? So that's possible, right? And what I often also see is when women give birth, let's say, and it's kind of like, you go to the doctor and doctor's like, okay, yeah, you don't have any pain, okay, you're good, bye, see you later. Women go do ab curls. That's a big no. Like if anybody is listening and have do not do ab curls after birth, because that's going to increase the intra-abdominal pressure below the belly button, and then you'll get that little pouch, right? So and that's fine, right? And again, we all do what we can with what we're given at the moment. That's fine. But again, no ab curls, right? And I see a lot of women like, I'm good, I'm just gonna go back to the same old workouts that I've done before. Maybe not. Maybe because body is now meant for something bigger, and to take care of another human being, maybe it needs a different approach, just maybe, right? So it's possible. Pelvic floor, lots of pelvic floor work, and through the breathing and through the certain exercises. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Because when we're pregnant, all those ligaments and joints loosen up too. So yeah, you don't want to. And what did I read? Somebody said to even kind of watch doing sit-ups and crunches and all of that, because you could actually have a prolapse happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not do that in the middle of a
Yeah, no. So basically everything in neutral spine, which means the spine stays flat, and you can do arms and legs, but none of this spine flexion, right? None of that, kind of like until certain rides, especially if there's diastasis recti. Diastasis recti is kind of like abdominal wall separation, and if we add ab curls on top of that, that might create a little bit of havoc in belly. That's fine, right? That can be worked, but it's just a knowledge at the end of the day, right? Where we unfortunately, I'm in Europe, let's say, women have a pelvic floor therapist, right? So they right away after the birth, they're like, okay, great. Unfortunately, here not. I'm in Canada, and it's like, yeah, okay, you're good. See you later.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So
I can
you
go
had a
back to work out. Yeah, I can. Okay, bye.
yeah, you had a C-section, it's healed. Adios.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And I always look at some of the things like in healthcare here and kind of what little bits I've heard, like European and stuff. And I'm just like, we suck here. Just saying.
You said it. I'm just gonna drink some water in the meantime.
We just need so much help with our medical stuff, and and menopause too. Like it's just not, we're just not treated the same. Like, what do I want to say? Like we're treated the same as everybody else when it's totally different, and those hormones are really not there anymore. And then our bodies are totally different.
Right. And speaking about hormones, right? And let's say, have a chronic thyroid disease, and I think Pilates was the only thing that really lowered my cortisol levels that really got me out of my head into my body. Because as with the thyroid, you do get, anxiety and all of that, right? And was literally the only thing that got me out of my head straight into my body, because you have to focus on these intentional movements on the form and on the breath, right? And then when I do my own Pilates practice, like nothing else nothing else exists. That's it.
You're here. Be
I
here.
can't think about anything else because there's so many things happening, right? But and it is proven that Pilates is a low impact exercise, will lower the cortisol levels and actually lower down the whole stress response that might be again hindering weight loss if that's the goal for
Right.
women.
And my science geek is going to go off here. When we talk about the stress and the cortisol, as our progesterone, estrogen are decreasing, the cortisol tends to go up anyways. And our lives that we live here can be pretty, I think about what my life was when I had children going through puberty in high school, and we were busy. We were constantly on the run, working full time and going from this activity to this activity to this sport. And my stress level was up here, and I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I just thought I was crazy.
Yeah, you
And
kind of got used to it. It's like, that's it. I'm there.
yeah, until I
Yeah,
crashed and burned, and then it wasn't good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we need to learn to live a different life. And of course, I was in my 30s when I had my kids. So I was well into this perimenopause, menopause journey and of course, so yeah, I'm going through that as they're going through puberty. It could get pretty some days here. Um, so I don't know where I was going with that, what my thought was. But yeah, so I was just dealing with that, and life can be stressful when your kids are in school. And my boys played all the sports and we were just on the go. And because I'd had a uterine ablation, did not have periods, even though my body still did the cycle. So I never took any of that into account with any of it. So
Mm,
it
yeah.
was just a mess. So
It's, and again, I go back to kind of like this European life, lifestyle. It's, you go there and like, oh no, we're closing from 2 to 5. How do you mean? Like, I'm not working from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Like, come back later. I don't know, right?
right.
They actually have these siestas and time to rest and really really enjoy the life, right? And
And we don't.
I think in North America it's just like go 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 as much as you can, and if you're not going as much as you can, there's something wrong with you.
Exactly. Who's got the most stress in their life?
Yeah,
I
exactly. We measure success by the levels of stress.
exactly. Yeah. Woohoo, I got more stress than you. Right.
Like, no. No. Right. And then you feel guilty for not doing things, right? It's like, no, like it's just and especially women, as women, I think there's so much that society expects from us, be a mother, be a good wife,
Work
cook,
full
and
time.
this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I talk about self-care, you think of the good things, the massages, the whatever, but self-care can be doing a Pilates workout or doing something because you're caring for your body. And like you said, we're getting out of that stress zone, and that's just so not good for us in so many ways to be in that state of stress all the time.
Yes.
So that's the self-care in of itself, is to just go take time for yourself to do exercise. And you're doing a good thing for yourself, because when I'm 80, I don't want to be like I said, the little grandma with the little walker.
Yeah. And it's possible. I have 74 and 76-year-olds who can do better workouts than 30-year-olds. I put them together and it was just like, okay, Joy is like, she's 76. And she's like, la 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 la, and everything. And then the 30-year-olds next to her, like, oh my God, I'm so out of the shape. Right? So it's right. It's interesting. She has been showing up. We started with one class. Now she's doing 3 classes a week. And she's like, Maya, look at my six six packs. And I'm like, okay, now you're scaring me. It's okay. Six pack is just kind of like a byproduct of what we're doing here. I'm like, it's okay. But and you know, or Carol, who's been with me for, oh gosh, like 4 or 5 years. Her daughter got from physiotherapist. Her daughter is my age, 45. And she got, you know, those like half bosu ball, like half ball. And
Okay,
she
yeah.
got a, right, and she got from physiotherapist to stand on it on one leg, and she couldn't. And my client Carol's like, move. And she goes, and she could be there for a minute and a half, right? On one leg, standing on an unstable surface, and she's well into her 70s, right? So it's really, really, really powerful to see these strong women, and how that strength and how that confidence bleed into every aspect of their lives, right? How they're more confident to wear that, let's say, backless dress because they feel great in it, because, you know, when they walk into a room, everybody's like, okay, who's that? Right? So it brings this confidence outside of the mat, or outside of whatever we're doing on mat, right? And it's really, really inspiring to see these women really taking care of themselves. And again, you know, self-care, yes, as you said, we talk a lot about self-care. What's self-care? Self-care can be just, you know, taking 3 deep inhales, you know, a day. Or now I'm all about like this vagus nerve and neuro nervous system regulation, right? I go into a room, I close my eyes, and I do and I'm like, if somebody's listening to me, it's like, what is she doing?
Doing
Right?
that, yeah, those low tones down here and getting that vagus nerve to.
Right. And
Mhm.
that takes 3 minutes, and I'm like, okay, let's go on. Right? So it's it just doesn't need to be, you know, this hour-long work, right? It
Yeah,
can be small little increments, how much you can put in, right? And the less we're stressed, the less that affects other people around us, the people we love, the people we care about, right? That also very important.
yeah, yeah, because you're stressed and then you got the wild hormones and then you get the mood
Oh
swings
God,
and
oh God, yeah, I'm there, right? I like with my thyroid, I'm like, like, time out. I'm gonna go to my vagus nerve. See you later. So
give
I
me
have
10 minutes.
lots of timeouts during the day.
See, I used to do that, like, or I'd want to when my one son, he just going through puberty was terrible with him. And we'd just be standing there just like, and then I'd be like, you go to your room, I'm going to my room. And we'll come out when we can.
Time out for both of us. Yeah, yeah.
And it would be, I was just like, oh my God, that was like, but just the both of he's doing puberty and I'm doing puberty in reverse, but in a wild way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then sometimes you know, you don't feel like yourself. Sometimes it's just like this, who is this? This is not me, right?
I know.
This is not me. Right? And it's scary sometimes, but I think, you know, acknowledging that and really having a support system is very, very important when we go through something like this, as a, you know, raging hormones and all of that, right? Yeah.
So yeah, so girls, the moral of the story is take some time, take care of yourself, build that core strength because that's where everything comes from.
That's your power.
Yeah. And
Right
we
from
want to take that power back here as
there.
we age.
Yeah.
Well, I really want to thank you for taking the time as long as it took us to get in here. I just have learned every week, I'm like, people might get Kim just chattering and you never know what's going to come out her mouth because there's 20 things happening in my head all at once. And some days we kind of finally connect and some days it just doesn't. So
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
we work
Uh,
it out.
exactly. Yeah, I relate to that totally. Yeah. The other day I was putting it was calling my phone or something, and I was opening the fridge and putting the putting the phone in the fridge for a moment there, because right, with the thyroid is, you're like, sometimes your brain is just like, okay, I'm not there yet. Right. So I can totally relate to that, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you for chatting with me.
Thank you. Thank you. So next week, I am going to have a surprise guest because I don't know who it is yet.
Those
So
are the best.
you might just get me next week.
Kim and Kim.
Kim and Kim. And like I said, we don't know what will come out. Sometimes I come in with a plan and I still don't.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
You know, when they talk about all the plates spinning, or you see the jugglers with all the plates spinning, I'm like, that's what's happening in my head all the time.
I get it. I totally get it. Let's break the plates. Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, let's get one plate spinning.
Good, thank
Oh,
you.
anyway, so we'll be back next Monday, whether we have somebody or not. And thank you, and y'all have a great week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
Ciao.
you're welcome.